Hey everybody, we're going to be starting here soon. In the meantime, please hang out in the chat room.
Creator Super Chat, $10. Yeah, Hope was right, there's a Super Chat feature now. Nice. Thanks for pointing it out, Hope. Lisa Zabotsky Super Chat, $5. Congratulations, Party Popper, Sparkles, Party Popper, Sparkles, M. Imagineaston underscore 32,313 Super Chat, $5. Lord Walker DL Super Chat, $5. Devilish Face, hey January, thank you for your streams. Looks like a good one tonight.
All right, everybody, should we get started? Should we get the party going? Well, it's not a party. Fridays are parties. Wednesday is not a party. All right. Can we get the demon faces? Get the devil horns. The devil horns. Okay, let's do it. And 3 and 2 and 1 and big face. Hello everybody, my name is Jan Erickson. This is my Hyperion channel and Mindful Monad. And today is Worldview Wednesday. We're going to be looking at the Russian draft. We're going to be looking at the internet blackout in Iran. And then we're going to take a look at the massive fucking hurricane that's happening. So, before we get into that, I would like to say hello to everybody and adjust some things. I always forget to adjust the lighting on my camera. I need a better, webcam. So you all can see me better. One second. Ah! So dark. Ah! That's better. A little too bright. Let me see. Is that too dark? I like it. Fully blue in the back. Bluish purple. Anyways, let's say hello in the chat. We have Hope. Good to see you. Kim drew the line. Good to see you. And yes. Oh, yes. Hello. Yes. The big, yes, obvious thing that's happening. Mindful Monad finally got monetized, and that's fine, whatever. I mean, pennies per videos, yay. But awesome thing that's happening with that as well is that we have super chats available, which people have been asking me about, and there's still some steps to go through. But soon we will have custom emojis and things like that in the membership program. And so, yeah, we're moving on up in the world. We're doing it. We reached our goal. And we're on to the next one. So the next one, I don't know. I think I would love to reach for 2,500 followers, subscribers, 2,500 subscribers. Let's do it. Let's take over the world, babies. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dear monads. So, thank you so much for my first super chats. Like, that's really amazing. Ven Winter, you're the very first one. And actually, I think it might be, Laura LaFleur, who, okay. Laura, I did get the super chat, so I did see what was going on. So, here's the funny thing. When I pressed go live, usually there's a box that pops up, and then a drop-down list to select the correct live stream that I set up. But I accidentally clicked go ahead and go live, which just created a default one. So I think that's what happened. I think, but it was only like for 2 seconds, like a 2-second live stream. So I'm wondering if people got in on that one, got the notification for that one, got in on that one, and that's where it is. But I did get it. I do have the notification. So thank you so much, Laura LaFleur. And Ven Winter, thank you so much for the super chat. And oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Lisa Zawaki. Thank you so much, Elise. I really appreciate that. And Lisa Grace. That's amazing. And Claudia, thank you. My God, thank you guys. And Cassidy, Renaissance Fairy, like, my God, thank you so much. Like, that means so much. I would love, like, if you guys would love to do something, like, awesome on Friday, maybe we'll have, like, a stream or something, like a celebration stream.
Renaissance Fairy, OWL, ow, demon, super chat, $5.
You guys. Oops, sorry. But, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm, like, so speechless. Thank you so much, Claudia. I am speechless. That means a lot. Yeah, this has been... this is, like, a special moment. It really is, like, a big moment because, I've been working at this channel for 3 whole years. Like, maybe a little over or under, give or take, but, like... It's been so much work. So yeah, I really am speechless. I don't know what to say. I didn't have anything prepared. Oh, thank you. Like, thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, I am feeling celebratory. Like I bought myself like a little dinner last night. So that was fun. So yeah, you guys, talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, be sure to thank... Hey, Mark. Be sure to thank the Academy. First of all, I'd like to thank my mom. And my Lord and Savior, Brandon Fraser. Thank you so much, Zero. Yay. That means so much to me. And Claudia, thank you. Yes. I'm like actually blushing. I don't think it's showing up on camera.
Zero super chat, $5.
So,
Raised hand.
yes, Claudia. Yes, emojis and badges are coming soon.
Claudia H super chat.
So it's like I'm just barely on board. So, after a while, we will get more and more options. So we're hitting all the marks. The biggest problem for me was the public watch hours. You have to have 4,000 public watch hours within 1 year. And that's why I hit the pedal to the metal with the live streams, because I wanted to spend more one-on-one time with everybody. Well, not one-on-one, but just like public time with everybody versus just doing like short videos to try and get there and try to get more exposure and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been a lot of work, like 3 years of work, just day in and day out. And there have been times where I've had to take some time off, and it's it feels really good to stick to something, like stick to a long-term goal and continue to stick to this, and then have like a community built within this. So like there's something positive out of this, 100%. And the community is what I love the most. So yeah, that's why I'm like speechless. Like I didn't like expect like so many super chats. So like seriously, that's amazing. I would love to do something special for you all on Friday. Maybe we'll have just like a little celebration. Maybe we'll eat some snacks. Do some Q&A, whatever you guys want. Watch whatever. But yeah, we're growing up. Like all of us, like our mindful monad community is growing up. We're getting to be one of the big kids now. Like we no longer sit at the little kids table at the Thanksgiving dinner, you know? The Thanksgiving dinner where all the little kids sit to the table to the side. We're like at the grown-up table. So, anyways, please let me finish saying hello to everybody. I'd like to thank our moderators for coming in. Susan Mitchell, Mark Vanderpool, and Cassie. I get to see Cassie soon. Thank you so much for coming and moderating our chat and keeping it safe. The big kids table now, yeah. We have MC Heavyset. Good to see you. Yes, Cassidy Hope. Laura, Lisa, Light Remus, good to see you. Melinda Mayhem, good to see you. Ven Winter. Let's see, I'm just skimming through, seeing who's all here. Mistress Angelica, good to see you. So, yeah, we're going to get on to the topics soon. We actually have super heavy topics tonight. For those of you who are just coming in and you haven't heard the intro, the topics that we're covering tonight, we're going to cover them shortly, like each, but we have like 3. We're going to just look into the internet blackout in Iran. We're going to look at the draft in Russia, and then we're also going to take a look at the hurricane that's going on, because that's really concerning. And with the hurricane issue, I'd like to express like how much I wish we would invest more in human resources and aid in sort of natural emergency situations, because there's so much we could do better as a human race. But yeah, we'll wait just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. So do come in, do say hello. Or don't. We love our lurkers. Our listeners. Our royal listeners. Our royal listening lurkers. It's not necessary to say something, but we do appreciate you here. And please like the live stream if you haven't. I see there's like 35 people in the room. Like, give a like. Let's see if we can get to like over 30 likes. So, oh, Morg, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, hey. Welcome, welcome.
Morg official super chat, $9.99. Hey.
So yeah, maybe let's do a celebration on Friday. And do something special. I'll put on the old spirit fingers, do some razzmatazz, some tap dance, do a little entertaining. And oh, I think Friday, what is Friday? Oh, Friday is the 30th. I was hoping it was going to be the 1st of October, but you know what? That's close enough. I really want to get into for our Friday night chat, for our entertainment and enjoyment. I would love to start watching ridiculous, ghosts captured on camera. Let's take a look at, Bigfoot and, Mothman. And, for Halloween, for spooky season, come on, how fun would that be? And I would love to judge the shit out of it. Let's do some paranormal researching and judging and just, let's disprove and debunk every myth out there as simply, collective consciousness. Collective unconsciousness. Let's see. Oh, Laura! Your 70th birthday! The big 7-0! On Friday. Congratulations. Yeah, I would love to have just a total fest of just paranormal exploration this whole spooky season for Fridays. Yeah, I love Halloween too. My hair's still... I just stepped out of the shower, so my hair's still wet. Yeah, I love me some paranormal stuff. And I love to dismiss it all as just, bullshit. Fake! Fake! But the joy of it is, pretending it's real. And then there are some where I'm just I have no explanation for that. And that's the joy of it. Because, in a sea of, paranormal shit that's uploaded to the internet, you got, 99.9% bullshit. And then there's, that tiny percent where you're I don't know about that. It seems like somebody might have caught something there. And you can't really explain it. And so it's, it's fun. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And everybody has to say something about ghosts and aliens and Bigfoot and Loch Ness and all that, so let's do it. Yes, Laura, Friday is October's Eve. So, anyways, I want to get into the subjects. They're quite serious, and I haven't quite really... I'm practicing speaking about things that are really important. Not that I can't speak about things that are really important, it's just things that I really have to put in some effort to, research and stuff. When I speak about things that are important to me, such as, coming out of Mormonism and stuff like that, it comes naturally because I have a lot of experience with it. So when I'm creating or developing an awareness and becoming awakened to something and aware of something, it takes time to digest, and I can think a lot about it inside my head, but then when I try to explain it into words, that's where I need the practice. That's where I kind of do the ums and ahs and hms, and because I'm trying to think of what's best to say. So let's dive into it. So first, we're just gonna read an article. We're gonna watch a couple of vids on the situation in Iran, and I will stop periodically and sort of take a look at it from a Hyperion perspective. So, Katrina, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. So let's go to our viewing content. And Susan says, it's much more difficult speaking about something for the first few times, even if you're familiar with the topic. Yeah, true.
Katrina Gatsby Super Chat,
True, true,
$19
true,
and
true,
99
true.
cents.
I Things always make more sense in my head, and when I formulate it into words, that takes time and skill and crafting and practice. So yeah, if you don't know, like last week we covered um, what is going on in Iran. So we're going to kind of cover that again today, but more so with moving on to this point of the internet being shut down in Iran.
Iran's president is
The situation with Masa Amini, and she was brutally killed essentially by morality police just because some of her hair was showing out of her hijab. She wasn't wearing it appropriately. So if you want to hear more about that in of itself, you can go back and see last week's live stream.
now back in Tehran after attending the UN General Assembly.
Oh, let me turn this up. Now, some of these news like videos that I pick, I don't really have like a favorite news place. I just try to pick like something that pertains to the subject that's just to the basic information. And Philip, good to see you. Just in time.
Iran's president is now back in Tehran after attending the UN General Assembly. He returns to mass protests in his country after a 22-year-old woman was arrested for not following the country's strictly enforced dress code. She later died while in police custody. Iran's police claims she had a pre-existing condition and died of a heart attack. Her family denies those claims. In response, the U.S. announced sanctions on Iran's morality police. And the State Department says they are taking steps to expand internet access in Iran, despite the government's internet blackouts. Joined now by our Tehran bureau chief, Ali Arouzi. Ali, what's it look like today? And we are able to talk with you, which means that the shutting down of the internet has been lifted, at least temporarily. What can you tell us?
Well, I mean, not
Hey,
quite.
Chuck. Well, look, the protests are still going on nationwide in all four corners of Iran. People have been protesting for 7 days. They're still going on tonight. But, you know, the security presence has become massive across the country. The authorities here are determined to put this down, but there's still
We went through this in 2019. I think they were like outraged about was it like oil? No, gasoline.
Big
I think.
group of determined youth to reach their rights. But Chuck, we have some equipment that we can get on air with. That's not the same for the rest of the country here. The internet is completely down in Iran. It's barely working. You can't access any search engines. No apps work. No social media works. None of that works. You can't go into Google. And most importantly for the authorities here, people can't message each other, which means they can't mobilize in different locations.
What a cock block on awareness. Like, what a cock block on, like, a portion of humanity's consciousness of things. I don't like that. As a Hyperion, I don't like that. That pretty much goes against everything I stand for, which is raising awareness and consciousness. So, that right there, like, that bugs me. That should not be. And as painful as it is to see this happen and all these people have to go through this and getting beaten and punished for this shit, that's painful, but without this information, how are we supposed to become aware and conscious of something? Like, how are we supposed to know about it if it's being censored? Like, this is really important. This woman died because of religious ideas. And this is a war of the mind, after all.
And equally important.
Like, straight up, this is, I make my little loppy lumps, and I make them with a little card that says, these little loppy lumps are here to remind you that we are in a war of the mind. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. This started with the idea that women should cover their hair with a piece of cloth. And if they don't, they die. Straight up. That's an idea. A bunch of guys were like, hey, that's cool. Let's do that. And this is the result of this.
To the authorities, they can't upload videos of the rolling crackdown. There is no documentation anymore of what's going on in the streets, and that's an ominous sign of what may come if these protests don't settle down. But there is an atmosphere of great tension here right now, and it's very somber. I mean, you'll hear in the distance cars honking, people shouting. You'll see tired people coming back from the protests. Riot police spread across the city, and you just don't know what every new day is going to bring here, because this is such a big subject here. The headscarf was the biggest taboo for the Islamic Republic to take it off. I mean, this was one of the pillars of the revolution. And just to put it in some perspective for you, Chuck, there were a group of women a couple of years ago called the Girls of Revolution.
It's so sad. What a waste of potential. Like, what a lovely, beautiful woman that just, like, died for literally existing. This really riles me up.
Street. Lone women would stand on a utility box, take off their headscarf and start waving it on the street. They would be promptly arrested, and they would get double-digit jail sentences. Now you're seeing girls across Iran burning their headscarves, cutting their hair. And the authorities here are going to do everything to try and put this back in the box, but the genie is now out of the bottle. It's
What the fucking reference is that? The genie is now out of the bottle. They're not granting wishes? What the fuck? What? What? The more I think, they're not, hey, here I am, here to grant you a wish. They're there because they're pissed. What the fuck kind of, the genie's out of the bottle? What the hell? What is, what?
It's a whole new day here, and it's a serious problem now for the Islamic Republic about what are they going to do now about the hijab, about other social injustices that go on here.
The cat's out of the bag, I don't know. Dogs over the fence, whatever. See, I made that one up. But like the genie came out of the bottle? A genie's kind of, I mean, good in a way, if you can, like, wish the right way, but, like, you can't grant, like, they're not granting wishes. This is nothing that benefits them in any way.
And it's also incredible, Chuck. You're seeing 17, 18-year-old girls that have dyed their hair blue or yellow or green, facing off with riot police, saying, I'm not going to put my headscarf back on. We saw a video today of a young girl in Tehran standing on a bench in the middle of the street. The female morality...
Look, if you do want to cover your hair, great. But, like, this is ridiculous. This is a waste of potential. This is, like, going against helping humanity. Like, become higher.
Police had come to arrest her. She goes, I'm just not going with you. I'm not putting my headscarf on. I'm not going with you. And there were people on the streets supporting her. But the government are also calling on their supporters to come out. There have been large government rallies today. They're planned tomorrow. So the tension keeps increasing, and we just don't know where this whole thing's going to go.
Ali, you've been reporting for us for decades. Compare this to 2009.
Wasn't it 19? No.
It has some similarities
2009?
because it's a very youthful movement. They're talking about social injustices. They want change, but that was a very different beast then. That, I think, that at the beginning, that was about people not wanting Ahmadinejad to come back into power. And the thing really got out of hand. This is a leaderless movement of people that want their rights. So it's a bit different this time.
Ali Arouzi in Tehran for us. Ali, I know this is not an easy assignment, especially at times like this. Stay safe. Thanks for your reporting.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
The genie is out of the bottle. What? So we'll read this basic article. Sorry, I'm just checking out the comments. Yeah, it's a really upsetting situation. So this is extremely concerning. Yeah, Iran's sweeping internet blackouts are a serious cause for concern. Yes, it is. Among other things. So when Iranian authorities pulled the plug on the internet in 2019, see, I thought it was 2019. I'm so confused now. I'm sure, has it happened multiple times? I'm not surprised if it has. Amid anti-government protests, the international community struggled to track the civilian carnage that followed. The people of Iran had taken to the streets to demonstrate after fuel prices surged as much as 300 overnight. The New Yorker Times reported the time that from 180 to 450 people and possibly more were killed during 4 days of violence, with thousands more wounded and detained, much of it while the country was plunged into digital darkness. Reuters in December 2019 reported 1,500 people were killed during a 2-week span of unrest. Jesus Christ. So let's just cut off, all access for them to, accurately report what's going on and go in and just slaughter them. Great. Great idea. Now some worry history could repeat itself amid renewed civil unrest. Protesters have flooded the streets in recent days after Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman, died while in the custody of Tehran's morality police. Iranian officials claimed she had a heart attack, but her family has said she had no pre-existing heart condition. I have no idea what they did to her, her father told BBC Persia. Everything is a lie. That's so sad. Mobile networks have been largely shut down. Oh, so they start with the cell phones. So mobile networks have been largely shut down, according to internet watchdogs NetBlocks, and Meta has confirmed that Iranians are having trouble accessing some of its apps, including WhatsApp and Instagram. You can't even fucking post a Instagram story about this shit. You can't even post a reel. That's why, even though these subjects are difficult, I don't like to shy away from them. They're already being censored to begin with. Am I gonna save everything? No, obviously not. But it's better to speak up and say something than to just stand idly by. Or even worse, waste your time. While it's not the total internet shutdown of 2019, tech experts say they are seeing a similar pattern. Wait, when was this released? I don't know if I'm getting my timing right. The 24th? It's the 28th. I think the thing we saw was the 25th. So is it a total blackout or is it just the mobile parts? Either way, it's fucked up. So, I don't think there's anything that would make us think that this is accidental, said Doug Madry, the director of the Internet Analysis Network intelligence company Kentic. My understanding, given the context, is the objective was to stop people from sharing videos and communicating with the outside world. Yeah, but, like, why? I mean, that was rhetorical. We know why. Alp Toker, the director of NetBlock, says the impacts of these disruptions can't be overstated. Earlier the week, NetBlock said the Iranian people who are now subjected to the most severe internet restrictions since the November 2019 massacre. This is another massacre, I think. Pretty sure plenty of people have been beaten and taken away just because they've had enough of this bullshit. So, the loss of the internet connectivity has become a central fear that's etched into the minds of Iranians. Let's read that again. Central fear that's etched into the minds of Iranians. It's like, we're going to shut all your shit off, send you back to the dark ages, and now what are you going to do? We can make up anything we fucking want, and you can do anything about it. Lovely. Lovely people. Not... particularly posted in 2019, Tucker said. One of the most alarming things about the information blackout is that we don't even have a precise death toll. He added, because what happens in terms of human rights violations, abuse of power become much more difficult to document, collate, and record scratch, no. Human rights groups say that at least 8 people have been killed in the demonstrations so far and are calling on the international community and the tech sector especially to do more support, to do more to support the Iranian people. U.S. Secretary of the State Antony Blinken on Friday announced steps the U.S. government was taking to clear some sanctions related to red tape and allow American tech firms to help people of Iran access digital tools. Yeah, I mean, this is a direct way to limit access to ideas that oppose a hostile government system that's high off religion. Straight up. They can't tolerate any criticism, any insight that their world isn't perfect, that their ideas aren't perfect for everybody. They hate that. So, of course, they're going to cut off access to any contrary ideas, to any other criticisms. This is the war of the mind. And obviously, this idea that women should wear a piece of cloth on top of their head in a certain way or they're gonna fucking die. This is insane. This is insanity. And all stemming from religious ideals. This is why I am extremely critical of religion. I think religion can eventually evolve into something that's more individual, recreational, doesn't, beliefs won't dictate what's to be for all of humanity. But this is the opposite of that idea. Like the complete opposite. This is not fun. This is not enjoyable. This is yeah, it is really insane. It's the dark ages. Like you just is like why don't you put on your robes and your whatever and go back and herd sheep in the wilderness? That's the same thing I think about like, with the strict morality of Mormonism. And oddly enough, um, in particular with Middle Eastern religions, and particularly Muslim, it actually kind of sides up with Mormonism pretty well in a lot of ways. Anyways, we are going to. I'm trying to keep the microphone pointed away from my nostrils and more to my mouth. We are going to help make sure that the Iranian people are not kept isolated and in the dark, Blinken said. This is a concrete step to provide meaningful support to Iranians, demanding that their basic rights be respected. The basic right to have your story be heard, for fuck's sakes. Time may be of the essence. While the current internet blackout is not as severe as November 19th, Madry said, there are concerns that it could eventually be. It's still early on. It's too early to know if this is going to be surpassed or not. Widespread scale of blackouts leave few options to circumvent. Amir Rashidi, I don't know how to pronounce these names, so if I slaughter them, forgive me. The Director of Digital Rights and Security at the Human Rights Organization operates a resource center to help those in Iran deal with the internet shutdowns. Rashidi had a software developer who fled Iran more than a decade ago. Said he and his team help provide Iranians inside the country with tech tools, risk analysis guidance, and training so that they can stay connected with each other even when the internet is severed by the government. He believes Iranian officials are currently following a familiar playbook. First, he said, they shut down the mobile data, and this is sophisticated enough to shut down even in particular neighborhoods. If the protests continue to grow, then they start to expand internet shutdown step by step. Eventually, they go full shutdown and shut down everything. So it sounds like, perchance, we are just getting started. Of course, this is a couple of days old, so I'm not sure what's going on right now at this particular moment, but I mean, this is current. So, but even as it stands now, the options to get around the internet or internet service blackouts are limited. So far, they are shutting down the mobile data and making it really difficult to work with the home connection landline. They are so slow with a lot of throttling, so it's difficult to work on a landline as well. If your phone has no mobile service, mobile data, you can't will it into existence. But I would certainly try. Net blocks, Tucker said, the methods of the internet restriction and disruption are so varied that even more advanced tools to get around the blackouts are becoming more difficult to use. For those who still have fixed line connections, a VPN or the Tor network might be useful, although these are also restricted by authorities, so they are far from reliable. The only real option during a total disconnection is to document things offline with the hope that when you're back online, you can timestamp them and distribute them, just as evidence of human rights violations, for example. Some are now calling the tech industry to do more than help, or do more to help. Meta-owned WhatsApp, for example, has said it will do anything within their technical capacity to keep their service from running, for being helpful, but called on international tech companies and sorry. I don't usually read out loud. Anyways, Meta-owned WhatsApp, for example, has said it will do anything or will do anything within our technical capacity to keep our service up and running. Rashida praised Meta for being helpful, but called on international tech companies and organizations to do more to reach out to the people of Iran directly and help them keep access to their rights. Encrypted messaging app Signal is asking for the public's help in setting up a proxy server that will enable people in Iran to connect to the signal amid the blackouts. Rashidi also criticized billionaire Elon Musk. What? Oh, yeah, I got that. Okay. Who recently tweeted, oh no, yep, here we go. Because why? Because we're trying to we're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to have a serious moment. And of course, Elon Musk has to stick their dick into the situation for literally no reason. Oh yeah, I found this. Where is this? Oh, from this guy, Kareem. I spoke with Elon Musk about Starlink in Iran. He gave me permission to share this. Starlink is now activated in Iran. It requires the use of terminals in country, which I suspect the Iranian government will not support. But if anyone can get terminals into Iran, they will work. Great. 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 I was skipping through just kind of skimming through this, the rest of this article, and it was mostly in how Elon Musk hates lawyers and loves free speech. It's great. How bourgeoisie. Not bourgeoisie, super millionaire. What a total waste. Let me turn on my satellite and point it at you. So Elon Musk recently tweeted that his satellite broadband service Starlink would seek an exemption from sanctions to provide internet in the country. I know what's realistic and what is not realistic, and I don't think Elon Musk is serious. Gee, I've never heard that before. Elon Musk isn't serious? No, this has never happened. Not once. Despite the fear gripping his homeland right now amid the protests, the internet blackouts, Rashidi does not see reason for hope. He feels the spirit of these protests, which are being led by women, are different than the unrest in the past. Fuck yeah, go women. Psh. I'm seeing more people are united, he said. Whatever is the result of these protests, we are moving to a new chapter of Iran. Fuck yeah. You go, ladies. That is some fucking angry Menad shit. So, Elon Musk. Oh my god. Elon Musk. He literally was just I've turned on the signal for over there. You just have to install this thing, which won't happen. It's like that scene in Sailor Moon where Tuxedo Mask comes in and is throwing the rose or whatever. It doesn't really do much. And then he's like, my work here is done. And floats away. And Sailor Moon's like, but you didn't do anything. I turned on my satellite and pointed it at your face. My work here is done. For fuck's sakes, but yeah, if we're gonna elevate the consciousness of humanity, we can't be doing this kind of a shit. And especially in a war of a mind where we have these crazy ass religious ideals literally killing people. That makes no sense. That's not reasonable. I don't like it, and it needs to stop immediately. So, I would like to look into places to maybe donate or something or do something. I want to do something! But right now, I just want to get you all aware of it. So, I'm going to use the restroom. So, let's pause. Let's have a little tiny 1 to 2 minute intermission, and we will move on to our next subject, which is the draft in Russia. So, yes. Sit back, relax, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Okay. Let's get back on schedule. What's going on in the chat? My room is the hottest room in the house, so like I just right now had to get a bag of lima beans and put it in a giant Ziploc bag, and like I have a like just behind my back. Now it's okay. But there is like no airflow and I don't have a fan. So it gets really hot. That's why I'm like dabbing my sweaty ass. And my nose runs, so I apologize. I have to blow my nose. My headphones fell off. Anyways. Paul Cherry, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Okay. Let's get back to our thing. So now we're going to move on to the draft that's happening in Russia. So essentially, the Russian version of the American draft. They're pretty much forcing men in Russia to fight the war for them. And there are a ton of men who are like, no, fuck you. I don't want to do that. And they're protesting and they're getting their asses beat. So another major protest happening in the world. Also not good. This is a this is an obvious violation of autonomy. No choice over the self. And again, we're going to look into this. We're going to watch this video because I just want to like get oriented with the whole mission of this war, which is religious. Here we have more crazy religious ideas. This is essentially religious with the reasons behind why Putin is doing all this bullshit. Why he can't just leave these damn Ukrainians alone. These poor people just having their own fucking goddamn country. Let's see. Oh, Paul Cherry says, hey, I forgot to mention that in Iran used to be very Western until, yeah, the revolution in 79. Yeah, in late 79, things took a turn, which is sad because they had fabulous fashion going on at the time. So let's watch this little video here. Take a gander. Oh, gotta turn the audio back up. Gee, is that not?
Putin's course and what
Oh, hey, Joanna. Good to see you. Glad you could join us. Who's specialized in this history for 15 years. I'm inclined to hear what he has to say with that. So, anyways, at this point, as of the 21st, Putin mobilizes 300,000 troops for war in Ukraine and warns he's not bluffing with nuclear threats. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday announced a partial military mobilization in Russia, putting the country's people and economy on a wartime footing as Moscow's invasion of Ukraine continues. In a rare pre-recorded televised announcement, Putin said the West wants to destroy our country and claimed the West had tried to turn Ukraine's people into cannon fodder. In comments translated by Reuters repeating earlier claims in which he has blamed Western nations for starting a proxy war with Russia. Putin said mobilization events would begin Wednesday without providing further details, aside from saying he had ordered an increase in funding to boost Russia's weapons production, having committed and lost a large amount of weaponry during the conflict, which began in late February, when things didn't go so well for Putin, so now he's mad. Things aren't going well, so let's take it to the next level. Great. A partial mobilization is a hazy concept, but it could mean that Russian business and citizens have to contribute more to the war effort. Russia has not yet declared war on Ukraine, despite having invaded in February and called its invasion a special military operation. How... Sorry, I'm trying to soak this in. This isn't an official declaration of war. But it's war. I mean, this is like saying it without saying it, essentially. That makes no sense to me. Putin confirmed that military reservists would be called up into active service, but instead, a wider conscription of Russian men of fighting age was not taking place. Oh, Jesus. I reiterate, we're talking about partial mobilization. That is, only citizens who are currently in the reserves will be subject to conscription, and above all, those who serve in the armed forces have certain military speciality and relevant experience. Conscripts will obligatorily go through additional military training based on the experience of the special military operation before departing into the units, he said, according to an Associated Press translation. In what was immediately greeted as an escalatory address, Putin also accused the West of engaging in nuclear blackmail against Russia and warned again that the country had lots of weapons to reply. Great, I'm going to reply with my dick to what he said were Western threats, adding that he was not bluffing. Putin has alluded to Russia's nuclear weaponry at various points during the conflict with Ukraine, but there are doubts over whether Moscow would actually resort to deploying such a weapon, with analysis saying that it could be tantamount to starting the Third World War. Well, aren't we due for a Third World War? I mean, jeez. I don't want a Third World War. That would be fucking awful. But I wouldn't be fucking surprised in the least bit. We've had two already. Like, what's one more sock in the load of laundry? Anyways, China's foreign ministry called on all parties to engage in dialogue to find a way to address their security concerns, while British Foreign Office Minister Gillian Keegan told Sky News that Putin's comments should not be taken lightly. Clearly, it's something that we should take very seriously, because, we're not in control. I'm sure that I'm not sure he's in control either, really. It's... This is obviously an escalation. When you start threatening the nuclear weapons, you kind of don't give a shit about the planet as a whole anymore. You're kind of just down the crazy mission. The moment you bring out the nuclear weapons, you no longer give a fuck about humanity as a whole. Nothing at all. I feel like at that point you don't even give a shit about yourself. Like, that's insanity. Like, if you have that much power and like ability to do what, like, you've lost it. This is madness. This is mad with power right here. Like, we haven't seen enough with Trump, but no, this is another example of mad with power. Financial markets reacted negatively to Putin's comments, with oil prices spiking more than 2% and the Russian ruble slumping around 2.6% against the dollar. Russian Defense Minister Sergei, a last name I can't pronounce, added more detail to the partial mobilization Wednesday morning, saying that it would see 3,000 additional personnel called up to serve the military campaign in Ukraine. In an interview with Russian state television, Sergei, the only name I can pronounce, said that students and those who served as conscripts could not be called up, that the majority of Russia's reserves would not be drafted, Reuters reported. Thanks. Not that they won't be drafted later, I guess. Putin's comments come as Russia's invasions of Ukraine let me restart. Putin's comments come as Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which began in the late February, approaches the winter period with momentum appearing to be on Ukraine's side after it launched lightning counter-offensives in the northeast and south to reclaim lost territory. Speculation mounted Tuesday that Putin could be about to announce a full or partial mobilization of the Russian economy and society, paving the way for possible conscription of Russian men of fighting age after Moscow installed officials in occupied areas of Ukraine announced plans to stage immediate referendums on joining Russia. The vote set to take place in Donetsk, Luhansk, other names I can't pronounce, this weekend, and with results widely expected to be rigged in favor of joining Russia, would enable the Kremlin to claim, albeit falsely, that it was defending its own territory and citizens, and that will require more manpower. Putin said Wednesday that Russia supported the referendums and said that the decision to partially mobilize was fully adequate to the threats we face, namely to protect our homeland, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, to ensure the security of our people and the people in the liberated territories. Plans to hold such votes were widely condemned by Ukraine and its Western allies, who said that they would not be able to recognize the ballots and efforts of annex more of Ukraine, and as Russia did with the Crimea in 2014. Putin on Wednesday repeated earlier claims from Moscow that Russians' claim is to liberate the Donbas, a region in the eastern Ukraine in which there are two self-proclaimed pro-Russian republics, and said he had ordered the governments to give legal status to volunteers fighting the Donbas, Reuters reported. Yeah, from what I understand, there are portions of there's some parts of Ukraine that border Russia. And there's some towns with like certain people, like there are portions of them that are kind of like on the fence. Like some of the people in Ukraine are like, we're Ukrainian, and then some of those people right on the border there are like, we're Russian. So it's a little gray there. Morale is believed to be low among Russian troops fighting in Ukraine, and on Tuesday, the Russian Duma, the country's parliament voted to tighten up Russia's criminal code around military service, including increasing the punishment for desertion and other crimes committed in conditions of mobilizations, martial law, armed forces, and hostilities. So it's like there's a lot of Russian soldiers who are like, man, I don't know about this shit. And it's like, well, you better know about this shit or we're gonna you before fucking us over. The UK's Ministry of Defence committed Wednesday on Twitter that this move was likely intended to limit the number of refusals to fight and designed to mitigate some of the immediate personal pressures. Timothy Ash, senior emerging market sovereign strategist at Blue Bay Asset Management, said Wednesday that a partial mobilization will make little difference on the battlefield in the near term. And how is Putin going to arm these 300,000 new troops when he is struggling to re-equip forces when he is already struggling to re-equip forces already being pushed in the meat grinder in Ukraine? The partial mobilization plus the announcement of referendum in occupied territories are meant more for external consumption for Ukraine and its Western allies to signal that Putin is still in this for the longer haul, but that he wants to negotiate. Interesting. So what's he going to do with those people? Because they're not happy. No, no music. Yeah, I'm already upset. That's fine.
This is the moment a would-be Russian conscript opened fire at a recruitment office, critically wounding a member of staff.
You've got to be kidding me.
Here, another conscription office is being attacked with Molotov cocktails. The attacks came just days after Vladimir Putin.
Well, yeah, no shit. So people are rioting in the streets. They're like, fuck no, I'm not going to die for Putin. Send Putin out. And the men are like, I'm not dying for this shit. And even mothers are coming out and being like, send Putin, not my son. Let my son live.
To the war in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin on the verge of violating international law by declaring parts of Ukraine to be Russian territory as increasing numbers of Russian men head for the border.
This isn't war. I'm just reclaiming what's already mine. This is insanity.
To avoid the military draft.
Inconceivable.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pannell is on the scene in Ukraine. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, George. Well, it wouldn't be the first illegal annexation of Ukraine by Russia, but it certainly would be the largest and most serious and likely to provoke a response from the US and allies. Meanwhile, the first Russians mobilized by Putin just days ago are apparently already fighting on the front lines. But it seems that most of those called up to serve are instead trying to get out of the country.
This morning, a mass exodus from Russia as Vladimir Putin drafts hundreds of thousands of men to help his struggling campaign in Ukraine. 66,000 Russian citizens have entered the European Union over the past week, nearly 100,000 entering Kazakhstan, and 100,000 more into Georgia. The crush to leave so great in parts that it can be seen by satellite. ABC's Britt Clennett is on the ground in Georgia.
All these people behind me have had a days-long journey from Russia. They were checked at the border to make sure they weren't on the draft list. But these guys, they're relieved, they're exhausted, but they say they don't have any plans. They just needed to get...
Because I'm assuming they don't have the same shit going on in Russia as US did when you could, like, avoid the draft by going to college back in Vietnam.
out.
Dmitry spent 7 days trying to escape, breathless from 2 days on foot crossing into...
God damn. You gotta fucking pack your bag. You gotta take your phone. You gotta hike for days to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, I would. Hands down. I don't blame him one bit. Especially if you don't stand for this, like, religious invasion.
Georgia.
I don't want to kill people and I don't want to be killed. I don't.
You don't even need to state it any simpler. Like, that is literally the simplest way to fucking explain. Like, I don't want to kill for this shit. I don't want to be killed either.
Need this war. And I don't support Putin.
And as discontent in Russia grows, on the ground here in Ukraine, fears Russia may escalate as it concludes sham referendums in 4 occupied territories. Putin expected to formally annex them in the coming days. Unsurprisingly, the Kremlin now claiming over 96% of those who voted favour becoming part of Russia. But Ukrainian officials saying the elections were rigged, with some forced to vote at gunpoint. President Zelensky saying this farce in the occupied territories can't even be called an imitation of a referendum. Meanwhile, growing questions this morning around 2 damaged gas pipelines running from Russia to Germany. A Swedish Coast Guard video showing bubbles from a reported major leak under the Baltic Sea. Danish seismic stations recording explosions nearby.
Wow.
Guys, well, we have some breaking news. Apparently, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow just issuing an alert telling all U.S. citizens to leave Russia immediately, warning that the Russians may refuse to allow those with dual citizenship, basically U.S. and Russian, to leave the country, preventing their departure, even conscript them into military service. The situation with this vote and the war looks set to take another dangerous turn. Amy?
It certainly does. Ian Pannell, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Families say goodbye to men drafted in Putin's war. No, I can't watch that. No, I can't. The suffering of children hits me too hard. I will just, no, I can't.
Amidst the outrage, brutality, and fear triggered by Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to force hundreds of thousands of ordinary Russians to the front lines. Tonight, as the Ukrainian president accuses Putin of nuclear blackmail, the U.S. is issuing this warning.
If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia. The United States will respond decisively.
Oh, well, I hope so. I fucking hope so. Somebody should probably be diving in already.
Thousands have taken to the streets across Russia to protest mobilization. Today, hundreds of Siberian women encircled police officers screaming no to genocide and demanding peace, as the country's men try to dodge potential draft orders any way they can. This is, I mean, like, Hyperianism is 100% for, like, autonomy. I mean, like, you should... Having to be forced into a war over a religious belief is not autonomy. This is not the Hyperion vision. This is not what we stand for. This is insanity. And fled.
Inconceivable.
To Finland.
I'm afraid to be mobilized. I don't want to participate in this war, so I decided to escape.
And in the Russian-occupied areas of Ukraine, what the West calls a sham referendum. And the local population terrified that should Russia illegally annex their cities, they too could be forced to the front lines to fight against their homeland. NBC has spoken to one person living in occupied Kherson who describes total fear and panic. Everyone is planning their way out, they say, though men aged 18 to 35 are not being allowed to leave, adding that the city has been transformed into a large ghetto. Anything you do might lead to you dying and maybe your friends dying. They say the men are looking for places to hide. Tonight, there are unconfirmed rumors that President Putin is considering introducing partial martial law to stop the tidal wave of men eligible for the draft from fleeing the country. Kate?
I think I've had enough of that, but anyways. Mark says it's not a religious war per se, it's a land grab. Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's a land grab, but it's really based on Putin's personal belief, which is religiously influenced. So I believe that that's probably why I went directly to just like, this is a religious war, but it's not a war of religion. Like our last topic we covered with the Iranian issue being over the morality police. So no, oh, okay, so yeah, you're right. It's not a religious war per se. It's not about religion. It's a land grab. But Putin's motives for that are religiously influenced. It's the belief that these lands were never their own individual land. These people were never their own individual people. That they were always Russian. Yeah, exactly. The evil isn't nearly as theocentric as in Iran. Yeah, Iran is more vehemently like, this is a hugely, like, this is vehemently like a religious issue. So, anyways, we're going to wrap things up. I just want to cover things in Florida. I just want to take a look at what's going on in Florida right now, because honestly, I'm like far behind, and I believe one of our own community members, I'm not trying to put them on the spot, but Roberta is hunkering down and avoiding the hurricane. I don't know who else is living in Florida right now, being affected by this, what parts of Florida you're in, but I'm just want to get up to date and caught up on this. And I will give, my thoughts at the end. I don't know if I'll read through all of this article here, but we'll be skimming over this a little bit more, but it is important and I do want to look at it. Because there's something to be said about a collective approach to planetary issues, which is something that is, well, it's something that I would like to see more unification on. These are things that, while there's these religious wars going on in Iran and then these land grabs going on in Russia, it's like, if this shit could just not be happening, right? If only humanity was in a position to focus on what's going on as a whole, as a planet, tackling things like natural disasters, because even if we didn't have wars,
Lisa Zavatsky super chat, $5.
Of ideas.
Sorry, I have to say goodnight. Great stream, Jan. Purple heart. Sparkles.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. You say, sorry, I have to say goodnight. Great stream, Jan. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming. Like, I appreciate everybody coming, but what was I saying? Oh, yes. Even if we get rid of these, like, religious idea wars and the war of the mind is diminished, we're still going to face problems together as a human race with these sort of issues like global warming, natural disasters, things like that. We're still going to have problems to solve. We're still going to have things to accomplish.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air because Hurricane Ian is about to make landfall along Florida's southwest coast. Let's take you right to the satellite. You can see the size and scope of this hurricane just off the coast there, right off the coast of Fort Myers, Naples, Sarasota, as you can see, feeling the brunt of this already. Severe impacts already. Life-threatening storm now. A very strong Category 4 hurricane, winds up to 155 miles per hour. Now
that's, yeah. 155 miles per hour, that's shooting shit through your fucking house. Like pieces of wood are shooting through your goddamn house.
Puts it just below a Category 5 hurricane, of course, Cat 5, 157 or more. This is hovering just beneath the Cat 5. Of course, they always look back at the path once it makes landfall. It could get upgraded much later. But this is the strongest September hurricane, nonetheless, in 2 decades to hit the western coast of Florida. The storm threatening to cause catastrophic damage with a storm surge forecast of up to 18 feet in some places. 18 feet of seawater expected to come ashore. That upgrade overnight into this morning, record storm surge of nearly 5 feet already reported in Naples. We've seen the images coming in, cars almost entirely.
Fuck me. I don't know. I live in a part of California that doesn't see weather at all. I mean, we just don't have weather. It's it's like it's warm and then it's slightly cold.
Entirely submerged in water. Parts of the state have been feeling the impact for hours already. The outer bands hitting with heavy wind and rain. There are reports of flooding in Fort Myers Beach. Power has been knocked out to more than 265,000 customers across Florida already, and this is just the beginning. Utility crews from 23 states have been called in. They'll be ready to go. Roughly 2.5 million Floridians have already been told to evacuate, so many heeding those warnings. The mayor of St. Petersburg has warned those choosing to stay that the city's first responders will not be coming to help while there are tropical force winds, of course, hurricane force winds once this makes landfall.
If you don't get the fuck out, you better strap yourself in, boy, because we ain't coming for you till these winds get down.
We hear that message every time a hurricane hits. It's simply too dangerous for rescue teams to go out in the middle of these hurricanes. Amid the ferocious winds, torrential downpours, and the flooding, there are also tornado warnings in effect. We've seen images already of those funnel clouds. Airports across the region shutting down. More than 2,000 flights have been canceled already today. Airports not in the storm zone will feel the ripple effects of this. We'll see this across the country, in fact. At this hour, the White House says President Biden has spoken with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The president urging residents not to take anything for granted and evacuate when ordered. Of course, that time is now quickly running.
That's a lot of Florida. That's a lot. I mean, granted, it's a lot shorter to drive across Florida than it is, like, down. But, I mean, lengthways, that's a lot of area. That's a lot of storming going on. I mean, it's over the whole fucking state.
Out, if not past, in so many of these areas that will truly feel the brunt of this storm, the highest impacts as it's approaching landfall right there in the Fort Myers area. We have our team on the ground across Florida. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, she's live in Fort Myers. And Ginger, you've been reporting in all morning long and early afternoon. You're seeing the effects clearly behind you there.
David, we are in the eye wall of Hurricane Ian. That is the strongest part of the storm. You can see almost nothing behind me, but if you could, the eye is only about...
Why are you out there? Go away. Seek shelter. I love, like, extreme weather news reporters that are just out there and they're like, hail is impaling my skull and cracking it. But this is the craziest weather we've ever seen. As you can see right behind me and on top of my head, my forehead's bleeding now. I'm passing out. Thank you for the news.
5 miles to my west. Look at what's happening right here. We finally saw the wind start to shift, and we've got the surge starting to take over the pool here at our hotel. If you look a little further, there was a dock, and there's a little house at the end of that dock that has been surrounded by the water. Surge here anticipated anywhere from 12 to even 18 feet. That's the type that takes cars, takes homes. It is not just life-threatening, it is not survivable. So you do not want to be out there, obviously. It's the wind as well. We've seen gusts in Naples up to 112 miles per hour. And now I really need to show you where this thing is moving, because it is so beyond just Sanibel and Fort Myers here. We're going to see a Category 4 hurricane make landfall any moment. We could see Captiva on the radar right through there. Those whipping winds reach all the way up to Jacksonville now.
It looks like a giant Cinnabon of death. Look at it swirl around in delicious icing.
Now with those outer bands. But that extreme wind warning, where you can see sustained winds for 115 miles per hour, that's for Inglewood, Boca Grande there, Rotunda West, and look at Tornado Watch. That includes Orlando, Miami, West Palm. Everyone there needs to watch as those winds and that friction spin up little tornadoes. Now, let me also mention that the path, which we know well now, is going to cut right across Florida. It will get too close for comfort to Bradenton and Sarasota. The north side of this eye wall is ugly, and it will have a lot of wind, and you've already seen that anti-surge coming out of Tampa Bay. It'll exit the peninsula and then eventually turn back towards South Carolina.
This report was probably, I mean, it's definitely came out today, but I'm sure the storm has passed more later. But, like, I'm just catching up with this shit because I just woke up this morning and it's like, hello, hurricane in Florida. And I'm like, what? And I couldn't get to it till now.
18-foot surge, though, in the immediate.
So, yeah, if anybody, like, knows anything, like, right this second, let me know.
That's our concern here. We are really high, David. We're about 5 stories up, so we've got plenty of clearance. We've got a really great building, a fortress that's keeping us safe. But I am unfortunately beginning to see pieces of houses, siding, and a lot of debris in the water, and this is really just the beginning. David?
Can't underscore what Ginger said enough for our team there. They are well above that expected storm surge. Ginger, talk to us a little bit about the speed of this hurricane, how it's really slowed down. And even as it makes landfall, it's going to be churning over Florida really for a very long time.
Mark. Mark. The weather reporter. I don't know if my microphone is still plugged in for you to hear this broadcast, but if so, as you can see, the 155 miles per hour wind have now lifted me right off my feet, probably 30 feet in the air now. I don't know, because everything is gray. I can't hear a damn thing because the wind is literally sucking the air out of my fucking head. I have no air pressure in my head now. Maybe if I take my finger and my thumb and hold it over my nose and blow, I can pop my ears back out. But anyways, back to you, Jim. But on a I'm like jesting, but on a serious note, I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is okay. Roberta, if you go back and watch this live stream, I hope you're doing well. Roberta had to hunker down. I believe she was in a more heavily hit part. Some people aren't, you know. I know there's a lot of Floridians who are, they're just like, what? It's a hurricane. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to go out and mow the lawn. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm going to mow the lawn, and then if there's a fucking crocodile after me, or alligator or whatever, I'm just going to bat it with a broom. Like, what do you mean? Like, we're fine. So, I think it's important to get ourselves together as a human race so that we can help people in these sorts of situations, because some natural disasters are just so profound. And the help is just few and far between. And frankly, if Elon Musk, who thinks pointing a fucking satellite at a country without it actually being able to work is doing something for humanity, he can stuff it up his ass. Maybe he can think about donating money to relief funds for natural disasters instead. I mean, there's so many other things that could be done to help humanity. It just drives me bananas, the kind of shit he thinks he's doing to help that doesn't. He's just an insane fucking billionaire. Just completely out of touch. So, that's my wrap up to bring Elon Musk back into this. Mr. Point my fucking satellite at your penis. So, let's cue the music back up. That's it for today. That was a lot of, like, serious topic and conversation, but I hope you're able to take something away from that in the sort of Hyperion movement vision for the future and humanity. trampolines end up across the street. Elon wants to increase the Earth's population, says Illusion Shadow. Yeah, with himself. We could go on for days about Elon Musk, but anyways. So, our next live stream is going to be Friday. We might do something kind of celebratory. I don't know. I think I might dive into some ghost shows. Let's order some pizza. Let's eat some pizza, drink some root beer, and... oh, maybe we'll have root beer float. I don't know. Pizza and root beer float night this Friday, and ghost shows. Our first night of ghost shows to bring in the spookity season. And it's also our celebration for, I don't know, hitting a cornerstone. We still have more to come though. We will forever be progressing. Ad Astra to the stars. Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, everybody. And thank you to our moderators, Cassie, Susan, Mark, Philip. Thank you so much for coming and keeping our chat room safe and cozy and friendly. And, oh, if you have not liked the stream, like it. And also, you can subscribe to my Patreon, patreon.com/Jan Erickson Official. There you can get instant access to our Discord server, and there should be more options to get to our Discord server here in the future pretty soon. And I believe our next goal I would love to work on is getting to 2,500 followers. Let's do it. Let's spread our message. Let's spread our community. Let's get everybody in. So the way to help me with that is to first like things, and then most importantly share, invite people, spread it to groups, forums, whatever. Spread the message. But anyways, yes, thank you MC Heavyset for coming. Thank you Lisa Grace for coming. Thank you also again to our super chatters. I'm absolutely stunned. You all, like, I really appreciate the support. It really fucking helps. Like, it truly does. I really appreciate it. So I'm so glad that this option is available, and we've accomplished that. So thank you, super chatters. Perry, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Laura, thank you for coming. Lisa Grace. Zero, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Elise, thank you for coming. Tyler. Cassidy. Joanna. Lisa Zwack. Yes, have a good night, everybody. And thank you to our royal lurkers. We love our royal lurkers, our royal listeners, our royal silent watchers. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Right. And we will be going live on Friday. Friday we shall be going live. Pizza, root beer float, and ghost videos. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, I love Bible Man. We will definitely get back to Bible Man, but for October, we are so doing paranormal diving into, and maybe we'll even extend it into November. Fuck, if we're feeling saucy, we will extend it all into November. Why not? November's great. It's just a little boring, you know. The decoration isn't as exciting. There's just like the straw And the corn! It's corn! It's a beautiful thing. It's got the juice. It's got the juice. All right, everybody. Good to see you. I'm going to back out. We'll see you Friday. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Demon.